Hey everybody, Erica here from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So I just it's Monday, right? So Monday, I almost forgot, is the day that I remind you of my offering. So let me do that real quick. So this is the channel where I use Lenormand, which is a 36 card divination system. It's European, um, from the late 1700s, I would say, early 1800s. And I look at issues of political, social importance, and I comment and I do prediction. So if you'd like to use the system or learn the system, I wrote a book about it. So it's called The Language of Lenormand or Lenormand or Lenormand, doesn't matter how you pronounce it. You can find it anywhere. It's available, obviously, soft cover. It's available on Kindle. It's also available as an audiobook as well. And if you'd rather read it in French, there is a French version, Découvrez le langage secret du Lenormand, which is Discover the Secret Language of Lenormand. So there are links to that under every video. I also have my own deck, and it's the deck that I primarily use. It's called Erica's Lenormand of Hope, and it's available through La Panthère, like Panther, but French, La Panthère Studio. They have this size, and then there's a mini deck, which is very cute. You can get there. Let's see what else. I have a self directed course where I've put up a bunch of videos and you can watch the videos on your own time at your own speed to learn Lenormand. And as well, I'll be offering a course in the fall, probably in October, that will be a live course, probably 2 hours at a time for 5 weeks, so that you can learn directly with me. Also, if you'd like a reading, I do readings, half hour and hour long readings. So if you shoot me an email, you can send it to in the company of cards at gmail.com or Lenormand with Erica at gmail.com, and just let me know um, what length reading you'd like and where you are in the world so that I can schedule you. Okay. So, just a couple of things I thought I would look at today. Both of them have to do with the court system. The first is maybe three things. The first is the Supreme Court. So we know that the Supreme Court has been asked by the felon to overturn the $5 million award to E. Jean Carroll that they already said that they were not going to get involved in. So I'm not even going to look at that because, he's just whistling in the wind. That money is no longer his. But the felon also wants the Supreme Court to lift the lower court's ban on the felon's suppression, voter suppression push. What was that suppression about? It was about um, making it much more difficult to do mail-in voting. So the lower court said to the felon, "You can't do that. Leave mail-in voting alone." The felon, of course, appealed to mommy and daddy, the Supreme Court, and he wants them to get rid of that lower court ruling and make mail-in voting not a thing. So I just want to know what the Supreme Court will decide about mail-in voting, whether they will just say, we're not looking at this. The law of the land is the law of the land, and the law of the land allows uh, mail-in voting. The felon's going to do everything he can do to screw up the 2026 midterms and, of course, the 2028 presidential election, although I don't think he'll be around long enough to do much damage in that regard, although Project 2025 will. Um, but I just want to know what the court will decide relative to mail-in voting and the fact that the felon wants to curb it. The lower court said he can't do that. So, of course, he's appealing to a higher authority. So, I think I'll use the letter, and that will stand for mail in voting. Okay. It's not the last card, but it's the next to the last card. So you know what that means. Since it's the next to the last card, it can't be the second, um, it can't be the second card. So uh, I'm going to put it where it is. There's only one card that comes after it. So I'm putting that down. And then I'm putting the three cards, the two cards that come before it. Okay. So we have Clover, we have the sun, we have the young man, we have the letter, and we have crossroads. Uh, I'll tell you, it's interesting that the center card was not the letter, that in fact the center card is the young man. And I'm taking that to mean the people, the voter. So we have Clover and we have Sun. I think that we will keep mail-in voting. I do not think the Supreme Court will do what the felon wants him to do. We have the letter as the fourth card, and then we have crossroads here. So, crossroads are about choices, and the Supreme Court has this choice. Do they do what he wants or do they not do what he wants? But I feel like with these two cards, mail-in voting will stay as is. I think what I want to do, though, is just to make sure that it's not wishful thinking. I think what I want to do is look at the question again another way. And this time, what I want to look at is I want to look for the birds because the birds are my card for the court. So what will the court do in regard to mail-in voting? Will they say it's already been decided by a lower court, we're not touching it? Will they say we're going to touch it, but not yet? Will they say no more mail-in voting? What will the court say? So let's go directly to the horse's mouth and ask the court. So that's the birds. Okay. I just want to get either confirmation or clarification on what I think is the answer, which is that the court will leave it alone. So we're looking for the birds this time. That stands for the court. Okay. So this time we can put the card we were looking for in the middle. There's the birds. Yeah. Okay, so we have the felon. Oh, and look, the young woman, the birds, the ring, the heart. Here's what I think. You know, I keep saying this, and it seems like I say it when it has nothing to do with anything, but it always does. The e-files is still a thing, and the court is not unaware that the felon is on the downslide because these files are going to take him down. So here's the court in the middle. I think they're going to keep things the way they are. We've done vote by mail for ages, and I think it's going to stay. So that's something good. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think the court will overturn the lower court's ruling that the felon needs to back up and leave mail-in voting alone. The other thing that I'm curious about, it doesn't have, well, I also actually, one more question on the Supreme Court. I know that they're his boy and he's their whatever. he's their boy and they're his, I don't know, his rubber stamp, I guess you could say. Um, but I'm just wondering if they're getting a little tired of him, a little annoyed to the point where, I don't know, they might stop going his way. Again, I don't think they'll go his way in this particular question that I just looked at in terms of mail-in voting, but I just want to know, how does the court feel about the felon these days? How are they feeling? We know that MAGA has been peeling away, and we know that a lot of right-wing pundits are starting to talk critically about the felon. We know Fox News is as well. So we know he's a lame duck, but I mean, there's lame ducks and there's lame ducks. And I just want to know how the court is feeling about him. So again, we're going to look for the birds. This time we're just asking, how is the court feeling about the felon? And of course, I'm not asking about the liberal judges on the court, obviously, right? I'm asking about those diehard people, the ones that he appointed, as well as Roberts, so Roberts, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, uh, the handmaid, Amy, um, Alito, and Thomas. Now, Alito and Thomas, they have their own agendas, but so does everybody else, right? I just want to know how they're feeling about him. So let's see what we get. So we're looking for the birds again. Okay, that's the court. Okay. So we have the anchor, we have the fish, we have the birds, we have the book, and we have the ship. Interesting that there are two nautical cards, right? And that I can actually mirror with each other, the anchor and the ship. They too long for the days when he's away, he's gone. But for now, they're stuck with him, just as the rest of us are. I do think that they have feelings about him and his, I want to say antics, but that's not strong enough of a word. Um, but but they don't know what to do about it because they'd have to wait until the tide really looks like it's going against him for them to start going against him, I suspect. They're not, I don't think any of them fans of his, but I'm going to pull some clarifiers on the birds themselves. Interesting. So, the birds themselves, that's the court. We've got the heart, the tower, and the White House. As a body, they love the law. They love their exercise of interpretation of the law. Um, but they have to deal with this White House. And I'm going to pull some cards on the book because they don't know what to do with him. Uh, whoop, whoop. Okay, so they don't know what to do with him. They look forward to better times, of course, as we all do, when, you know, he's not there anymore. Uh, and then the garden, I can mirror the garden in the book. They know that the public is not a fan of the court. And of course, they never like that because they only serve at the pleasure of the public. So I'm going to pull cards on the ship. We have the fox, the key, and the woman. I think that they think if we can just kind of, hold our ground and hold our breath and all of that, the e-files will take him down. The key, the answer is the e-files. So if we can just be, um, you know, cagey and slick, um, and get as much as we can out of it. I'm talking about the majority on the court. Get as much out of for ourselves the fact that he's the president, whether it's, I mean, there's just so much illegality going on the court. But they want to get theirs. They're self-interested, but they also are biding their time because, the Epstein files will take him down, will cause him to have to set sail one way or the other. So, is there any love lost between him and them? There is not, but they are just kind of, gripping their seats, hoping they can hold on for the ride, trying to get as much out of it as they can for themselves. Yeah, but also, like the rest of us, looking forward to the day when he is no longer at the helm. All right. So another legal thing I want to look at, and this will be the last thing for today. I wanted to look at Katie Fang's suit against Todd Blanche. So over the weekend, the judge said, listen, Blanche, you haven't been really an honest broker. I mean, this is me paraphrasing. So I want all those files that you're not giving the public, the DOJ is not giving the public, I want to see them in camera. Now, in camera, camera just like you would think camera, but in camera is Latin for meaning in chambers. Like I want to look at them myself. I want my judge's eyes to be on all those files that you've decided that you weren't going to let out. I want to see them, and I'll make a decision. Now, the decision that he could make is he could say, "Oh yeah, no, the public can't see this." He could do that, or he could say, "Miss Fang, you're right, and I'm going to make everything public." He could do that. Or he could say, well, let's sit on this for a while. And he could sit on it for 7 days or as many as 60 days. Now, of course, what the DOJ wants would be one of those two solutions that um, either he votes with them and says, oh, yeah, no, we can't show these to the public. That would be ideal for them. Or second best would be that last option, which is to say, I'm going to just give this like a 60-day pause because why? It gives the DOJ time to appeal to another judge, not Judge Sullivan, another judge to overrule Sullivan. That's what they always do, like kick things down the can, kick the can down the road, right? So apparently the date is Thursday. So that's the 30th, I think. Yeah, Thursday. Um, by that time, that material has to be turned over to Judge Sullivan. Katie Fang has further asked that if Blanche does not turn it over by Thursday, he be fined $1,000 a day by the court. So there's been no decision on that, probably because the judge is saying, well, hopefully he'll turn it all over. So let's ask that question. First question, will Blanche turn over all of the material that heretofore has not been shown to the public, even though it's supposed to have been turned over? So will he turn over to the judge to look at in his chambers those 3 million documents that have not been released yet? So I think by the way, what's interesting is that same day, Thursday, is also the day that Blanche's nomination to be Attorney General will be voted on in the Judiciary Committee, where they will decide whether or not to advance him to the full Senate. So Thursday is quite an auspicious day for him. Um, but we don't know if it's auspicious, but it's an important day. I hope it's auspicious for us. But anyway, um, so will Blanche turn everything over to Judge Sullivan? We'll use, let's use the younger man for Blanche. And we want to know, is he going to turn everything over to Judge Sullivan by the stipulated date, which is Thursday the 30th. So we're looking for the younger man. That's going to be Blanche. Deep in the deck, but I can still put him in the middle. Okay. We have the scythe, we have the star, we have Blanche, we have the sun, we have the key. You know, the Judiciary Committee is going to be watching him too to see whether he turned over that material in time on the same day that they are going to decide whether to advance him or not. Therefore, he will make the decision, I think, um, for the sake of his future, Blanche will give, have that material turned over, all of it, to Judge Sullivan. So that's the first thing. So that's good, which moots the question of him being fined $1,000 a day, right? It's not going to be necessary, I don't think, because I think he's going to turn over the material. All right. Then Judge Sullivan has time. He has to go through everything. So uh, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll just leave it at that. Maybe I'll just leave it at that. Let's just see how that plays out. We'll know Thursday whether or not he turns it over. I think that he will. Um, but I guess for one last question, we'll go back to the Epstein thing and the Blanche thing another time. But for one last question, let's look at that Judiciary Committee. And will Blanche be advanced to the Senate committee for a vote? We know that Tom Tillis and John Cornyn had expressed reservations about him. I don't think he has made them feel necessarily any better about things, but they could decide, oh, you know what? Let's not let this be on our heads. Let's let's just advance him, and if he's gonna not get through, let it be because the Senate voted that way. They could do that just because they want to pass the buck. Be a tough guys, ahead of time, and then when it comes down to actually keeping him from advancing, I don't know, they could become cowards again and just pass him through. But I don't know. So I'm going to look. Again, we're going to look for the young man. This time the question is, will Blanche be advanced out of the Judiciary Committee into the full Senate for his confirmation as Attorney General? So let's see. Again, we're looking for the young man. That's going to be Blanche. Okay, so this is Blanche. Okay, so we have the rider, whip. Here's Blanche. Here he is moving forward in the process. Oh, but wait, a coffin. So I'm going to say for like the 10th time, I don't think he advances out of committee. I could be right, I could be wrong, but the energies that I'm seeing are that he does not advance out of the committee. I hope I'm right, um, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, So, tomorrow, if you're looking for me, you can find me over on Substack, where I will be writing my weekly article. I don't know what it's going to be about, but so you can come be surprised with me over there. I would love for you to subscribe over there. It's free to be a subscriber, but if you're a paid subscriber, you get access to the free readings that I do periodically over there for viewers. You've seen me do them here, but I will be mostly doing them over there on Substack, and it's a smaller group, which means that you're more likely to get a reading. And those are, 3 to 5 card readings that I do. Um, so if you go to substack.com, put my name in, um, you know, you can find me there. If you want to do a paid subscription, as I said, that's the group that I read for when I do these pop-up readings. It's $5 a month or $50 a year. So I'll see you over on Substack. Otherwise, I will see you Wednesday evening with Lena from Lena Down Under. Wednesday's my birthday, so we will be together answering, um, some of your questions and looking at the issues of the day. That's a live, so there'll be a notice for that when we're closer to the time. Everybody have a great Monday, good start to your week, and I'll see you soon. Take care.